At the critical time when Xiao Yan helped Xian refine the dragon and phoenix crystal layer, the Taishu Gulong clan allied forces in the southwest and north three islands suddenly besieged Donglong Island, trying to take Xian away. Elder Candleli, He Qing and others on Donglong Island resisted desperately, but there were too many allied forces on the three islands, and they were not opponents at all. Xiao Yan, who was refining the dragon and phoenix crystal layer, was about to be killed. Xian successfully evolved into the Supreme Dragon Emperor and returned domineering. She only released a threat of the Dragon Emperor's bloodline, and the coalition forces of the southwest and north three islands were so frightened that they had no ability to resist at all, and they knelt down and begged for mercy. After solving the siege of the Mishima coalition forces, in order to repay Xiao Yan's life-saving grace, Xian injected a trace of the power of the dragon blood into Xiao Yan's body, and then went to retreat to practice. At the same time, Xiao Yan's consciousness was floating in a purple and gold light, and the light of a cold breath permeated the sky, and then quietly merged into his consciousness. After a long time, the purple gold light finally began to fade slightly until it completely dissipated. In the spacious room, a figure lay quietly in the mottled sun. At a certain moment, the figure's closed eyes suddenly trembled slightly, and then he opened his eyes with some difficulty. For an instant, the dazzling sunlight frowned Xiao Yan's brows slightly, and he shook his head. The tumbling memories in his mind suddenly surged like a tide, causing his head to ache faintly. Xiao Yan sat up slowly from the bed and murmured, "Isn't it refining the dragon phoenix crystal layer for Xian? How could it appear here? And Gulong Island is under attack." Xian, thinking of this, Xiao Yan was taken aback suddenly. Pressing her palms on the bed, just about to sit up, she only heard a click, and the hard bed was actually pressed into a piece of powder by him. At the moment, Xiao Yan was taken aback and looked at his hands in a daze. At this moment, he realized that his physical strength had suddenly increased a lot. What's going on? Frowning slightly, Xiao Yan lifted up his sleeves, only to find that under the skin, there was a faint purple gold color, which looked like metal, giving people a sense of indestructibility. Just as Xiao Yan was at a loss for the changes in his body, the closed door of the room was suddenly pushed open, and then two figures walked in quickly. Seeing Xiao Yan who had awakened on the bed, he smiled with joy. "Little brother Xiao Yan, you are awake." Looking at the old man and He Qing who pushed the door in, Xiao Yan quickly raised his fists at the two of them and said, "Elder Zhili." Upon seeing this, Elder Zhili waved his hand and said with a smile, "Little brother Xiao Yan, don't be polite, you have a great kindness to my Taishu Gulong clan, and we can't afford this gift." Hearing this, Xiao Yan's heart moved, and she hurriedly said, "Has Xian succeeded?" Zhangli smiled and nodded. "Anyone can see his joy now." Xiao Yan glanced at him, and said in a daze, "Where's Xian?" Candleli heard the sound and responded with a smile, "The original fruit of the dragon phoenix in the body of the dragon emperor has not yet been fully absorbed. After the criminals were defeated that day, they will retreat again. I am afraid it will take a long time." Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded, slightly disappointed. "I'm always a little relieved that I haven't seen that girl." The palm of his hand gently rubbed his arm, and after a while, Xiao Yan suddenly hesitated and said, "There seems to be some change in me." Candleli chuckled and said, "Little brother Xiao Yan found out. This was done by Lord Dragon Emperor. He injected a trace of Dragon Emperor's power into your body and activated the cologne blood essence you took that day, which caused your physical body to be greatly enhanced. Your current physical strength is not inferior to that of some Tier 8 warcraft." As soon as these words came out, a trace of surprise flashed in Xiao Yan's eyes. No wonder he felt something was wrong. It turned out that his body was so much stronger. Candleli glanced at Xiao Yan's expression and said mysteriously, "The power of the Dragon Emperor is not as simple as you think. You try to mobilize the strange power in your body to see what happens." Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded slightly, then closed his eyes, settled his mind, and quickly stimulated the strange energy under his flesh and blood. With this surge of energy, Xiao Yan's body suddenly felt sour and itchy, as if his whole body was being bitten by countless ants. This change shocked him, and he quickly opened his eyes, but was shocked to see that countless purple and gold dragon scales appeared on the rest of his body except for his head. These dragon scales are attached to Xiao Yan's body, like iron armor, giving people an indestructible feeling. Looking at Xiao Yan with a surprised face, Zhili slowly said with her beard, "This is dragon scale clothing, a defensive skill that people of the Taishu ancient dragon clan have, but yours is not an ordinary dragon scale clothing, but the highest level of dragon emperor ancient armor." He Qing on the side smiled and said, "This dragon emperor ancient armor is a good thing. With it and your own strength, even if you take a punch from the 9 heavens of the Soul Hall, it's just a small injury." There was a hint of envy in his tone. As a member of the Taishu ancient dragon clan, he naturally knows this ancient armor of the dragon emperor that exists in ancient books very well. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded and shook his palms curiously. That terrifying sense of power became clearer in his heart. It really is a good thing. Zhili smiled and said, "This dragon emperor ancient armor is usually hidden under your skin. As long as you urge it, it will appear immediately." Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded, and as soon as his mind moved, the purple gold scales on his skin squirmed quickly, and then disappeared in a cold feeling. After repeatedly manipulating the appearance and concealment of the Dragon Emperor's ancient armor several times, Xiao Yan put it away contentedly, and then asked with some doubts, "By the way, where is Qinglin?" Hearing the sound, Zhanli smiled and told Qinglin's situation that it turns out that the soul in Qinglin's body is the most fierce 9-headed heavenly snake among the ancient heavenly snakes. This beast is fierce and monstrous. Even if Qinglin can now control it with the blue snake Sanhua pupil, as the 9-headed heavenly snake's ability gradually recovers, it will inevitably devour its lord and control her. Therefore, Zhanli asked Qinglin to practice in the tomb of the ancient dragon, which is the resting place of the ancient dragons of the ages. The dragon aura is extremely vigorous, enough to suppress the soul of the 9-headed heavenly snake, and then completely refine it. With the green scales of the 3 flower pupils of the blue snake, she can easily gain the soul power of the 9-headed heavenly snake, and her strength will also increase by leaps and bounds at that time. After listening to Zhanli's narration, Xiao Yan nodded silently. Since Qinglin was still in cultivation, it was not easy for him to leave alone, so he whispered softly, "In that case, then I will stay on Gulong Island for a while. By the way, Elder Candlelight, is there a place where thunder gathers in the void outside Donglong Island?" After listening to Xiao Yan's words, Zhanli was startled, and then whispered softly, "In the void space near Donglong Island, there is indeed a place where thunder gathers." Hearing this, Xiao Yan smiled excitedly, and then under the leadership of He Qing, Xiao Yan came to the void thunder pool. This place is the cultivation place of the Taishu Gulong clan, and it is a naturally formed area. With this thunder pool, Xiao Yan could not only completely repair the wounds of the heavenly demon puppets, but might also allow the remaining 10 earth demon puppets to evolve into heavenly demon puppets. That if this is the case, he will have 11 heavenly demon puppets equivalent to the powerful Dozuan in his hands, and the lineup is extremely terrifying. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan couldn't wait to smile at He Qing. "Brother He Qing, I'm going in first, and I'll send a signal if something happens." Seeing Xiao Yan's anxious appearance, He Qing responded, "During this period of time, I will stay outside the thunder pool. If you encounter any changes, send me a signal and I will go in to save you." Xiao Yan handed over his hand and smiled, "Then trouble brother He Qing." After speaking, as soon as his toes stepped into the void, his figure swept out like a meteor, and the strange fire in his body rose at this moment, wrapping all his body. When Xiao Yan rushed into the thunder pool, many thunderbolts bombarded him like enraged silver snakes in an instant. However, after these thunderbolts came into contact with the strange fire on his body, they were annihilated, invisible like dissipated snowflakes in bursts of subtle dull sounds. Although the power of thunder is powerful, it is still a lot worse in the face of the strange fire filled with the power of destruction, and this is the capital for Xiao Yan to dare to break into the thunder pool alone. Seeing that Xiao Yan fell into the thunder pool without accident, He Qing breathed a sigh of relief, and slowly descended in the void with his feet on a plate, staring closely at the thunder pool. Under the protection of the alien fire, the surrounding thunder seemed to be afraid of the power of the alien fire, and did not launch a crazy attack on Xiao Yan. Seeing that Lei Qi did not riot because of his entry, Xiao Yan breathed a sigh of relief. Then he sensed the power of the thunder around him, hesitated for a while, and then stepped out, heading towards the depths of the thunder pool. After walking nearly 100 feet or so in this way, he stopped. The power of thunder here is also quite intense, and faintly, it gives Xiao Yan a sense of oppression if nothing else. If he continues to deepen, the power of thunder will surely become more terrifying. Even if he is guarded by a different fire, I am afraid he will be blasted into scum in an instant, right here. With a decision in his heart, Xiao Yan no longer hesitated. He sat cross-legged here. After calming down a little, he waved his palm, and the riddled heavenly demon puppet that was blasted by the Tianming sect Dozuan flashed out. Today's Tianxiangqi is covered with depressions all over his body, and even his skin has a tendency to crack. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Yan waved his sleeve robe, and a soft force pushed the heavenly demon Kuei in front of him to the place where the power of thunder was strong. As soon as the heavenly demon Kuei flew out, the power of thunder that permeated the surroundings turned as violently as if it had been drawn by some kind of traction, and then frantically blasted towards the heavenly demon Kuei. However, when these seemingly violent thunderbolts came into contact with Tianxiangqui's body, they disappeared in an instant like water that met a sponge. The thunder danced wildly in the thunder pool, and huge thunder of nearly 10 feet or even dozens of feet all rioted presumptuously at this moment, with a loud rumbling noise, and the sky was overwhelming towards the sky demon puppet, and under the roar of so much thunder, the dark golden body of Tianxiangqi, which was originally dim, gradually became brighter again at a rather slow speed, and some depressions were slowly repaired, but the speed of repair was very slow. Looking at the heavenly demon Kuei wrapped in thunder, Xiao Yan sighed. At this rate, it will take half a month to completely repair it. With a thought in his heart, Xiao Yan's 10 earth demon puppets obtained from the ruins of Doshing emerged. He licked his lips and murmured, I wonder if these earth demon puppets can be strengthened here to the realm of heaven demon puppets. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan's heart instantly became hot, and this kind of improvement in strength was too tempting. 10 puppets formed a circle and wrapped him in it. The violent thunder outside the circle danced frantically, and the stout thunderbolts bombarded the 11 puppets continuously, but this seemingly terrifying attack did not affect the puppets in the slightest. On the contrary, the luster of their bodies became brighter and brighter. Time is like flowing water, and half a month has quietly passed away. The sky demon Kuei has undergone a change, and a crack has opened on the dark golden skin. Through the gap, flickering silver thunder and lightning can be vaguely seen. Xiao Yan shook his head and said, the power of thunder absorbed is too much. Has it reached its limit? This heavenly demon Kuei was made from the remains of the 7-star Dozong powerhouse. It used to be unattainable to Xiao Yan, but now it is just an ordinary product to him, but with this material, it can achieve the power to match the 5-star Dozuan. It is incredible. With regret in his heart, Xiao Yan included the sky demon Kuei that had reached saturation in the ring, and then turned his gaze to the other 10 earth demon Kuei. After half a month of absorption, small golden spots began to appear on the bright silver bodies of these earth demon Kuei. Xiao Yan, who had experience, naturally understood that when the golden spots completely covered the body of the earth demon Kuei, he could evolve into a real heaven demon Kuei. Xiao Yan secretly said in his heart, if the giant sky demon Kuei forms in formation, it should allow my giant sky demon Kuei to skyrocket to the strength of the 8-star Dozuan. At that time, even if I meet the 9 heavens again, I can rely on puppets to contend with it. But when the demon Kuei slowly advanced, Xiao Yan sat cross-legged in the center of the puppet like an old monk, with a solemn expression on his face. Strange energy fluctuations rippled slowly all over him. At this time, the surrounding Lei Qi also made a strange sound, and an unusually majestic violent energy turned into a substantial leather chain, circled around Xiao Yan for a while, and then frantically exposed his body. Away. Facing these unusually violent energies, Xiao Yan remained motionless, his body like a bottomless pit, allowing the crazy infusion of vigorous energy. As more and more energy poured in, Xiao Yan's head also condensed a huge thunder vortex with a foot of 100 feet. As the vortex rotated at high speed, terrifying energy surged frantically. I don't know how long this thunder vortex lasted, and at a certain moment there were finally signs of gradual weakening, and Xiao Yan's whole body was already surrounded by bright thunder. Looking from a distance, it was like the arrival of the god of thunder, filled with a kind of palpitating coercion. Slowly, the thunder vortex became weaker and weaker, and in the end, it finally stopped abruptly and slowly dissipated. A breath of electric light spat out along Xiao Yan's throat, and the beating heart could still be seen on his face and robe at this moment. Feeling the exponential increase in power, Xiao Yan raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. Are you 5-star Dozuan? Unexpectedly, he was successfully promoted in the Thunder Pool. That place is really a blessed place. If you use the 3 profound changes of Tianhua, your strength should be able to reach the 7-star Dozuan. In the 9 heavens, I joined forces with the puppet and might be able to kill it. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered fiercely, and he immediately raised his head and looked at the 10 puppets around him. When he saw the 10 earth demon Kuei, his body had been completely transformed into a golden color. Obviously, they have successfully evolved to the heavenly demon Kuei. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan couldn't help laughing, then stood up and stretched out his waist. He was just about to put away the 10 heavenly demon Kuei, but his heart suddenly moved. Then he turned his head abruptly and looked straight into the depths of the Thunder Pool, but he didn't find anything. He muttered to himself, there has just been an extremely violent energy fluctuation. Is it wrong to sense it? However, as soon as his voice fell, an invisible strong wind suddenly burst out from the depths of the Thunder Pool. Where this strong wind passed, the violent thunder was annihilated almost instantly. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan was surprised. What a terrifying wind. Just when Xiao Yan's scalp was numb, he saw that in the area torn apart by the strong wind, an extremely embarrassed figure sprang out of it. Behind him, a dozen dark and chilling huge thunder followed like a black dragon. At this moment, Xiao Yan's scalp exploded suddenly, and he put away 10 heavenly demon puppets like lightning. Without saying a word, he turned around and fled outside the Thunder Pool. He didn't know the embarrassed figure being chased by the thunder, and he didn't want to know it. That guy was obviously not a fuel-saving lamp, and the dark thunder behind him was not a good thing. Xiao Yan understood that with his strength, as long as the dark thunder was contaminated, he would be blasted with no scum left. Xiao Yan exerted his speed to the extreme, and pieces of afterimages continued to appear behind him, but what made him miserable was that the people behind him seemed to have discovered him. Not only did they not turn to escape, but they also chased him straight over. Feeling the terrifying pressure from the torrential rain, Xiao Yan couldn't help but burst into a foul language. Damn it, I don't have the ability to help you. This person obviously wanted to find a helper to resist the Black Thunder together, but he looked up to Xiao Yan a little bit. Just as Xiao Yan buried his head and ran wildly, a sound of breaking wind suddenly exploded in his ears. My friend in front. As soon as the figure said a word, he was a little surprised. 5-star Dozuan, dare to come to the Void Thunder Pool with this strength, is there any mistake? After hearing this, Xiao Yan vomited blood several times. He happened to be practicing well. As a result, this guy caused a lot of trouble and discriminated against his strength. The thought fell, and the silver light flickered on the soles of Xiao Yan's feet. Bursting out with all his strength, taking advantage of a small gap, he glanced at the figure next to him. This person looked quite old, full of silver silk, and most of his robe was rotten, apparently destroyed by thunder. But what shocked Xiao Yan was that although this old guy looked embarrassed, he still gave people a sense of energy, as if the dark thunder that destroyed the sky and the earth behind him did not cause him the slightest harm. However, Xiao Yan was really not interested in who this expert was sacred, because he felt that the dark thunder behind him seemed to be getting closer and closer to him. The old man screamed strangely at the moment. Is there a mistake? The speed of these ghosts is too fast, boy. The old man is one step ahead. With a twist in the space in front of him, the old guy got in, and when he reappeared, he was thousands of miles away. Upon seeing this, Xiao Yan cursed angrily, old bastard. Immediately he gritted his teeth, his back flashed, and his bone wings instantly extended out. Under a violent instigation, Xiao Yan's speed suddenly skyrocketed, and he appeared in a distant place in a few flashes, and then he continued to bury his head and rush wildly without looking back. Using his speed to the extreme along the way, Xiao Yan gradually got rid of the dark thunder. He looked up and found that the end of the thunder pool was already in front of him, so his speed accelerated again, and finally rushed out of the land of thunder like a fast wind. Xiao Yan gasped for breath, with fear still remaining on his face. And it was hard to imagine what a miserable ending it would be if he was hit by those dark thunderbolts. After calming down for a while, Xiao Yan secretly said in his heart, "It seems that there must be something terrible in the depths of this void thunder pool, otherwise the old guy just now would not be able to jump up and down." As soon as the voice fell, a voice full of anger exploded strangely in his ears. "Is there any mistake? Just relying on the things here will make the old man so embarrassed. If it weren't for the fear that after the shot, it would cause riots in this thunder pool, the old man would have destroyed those things a long time ago." Hearing the sound, Xiao Yan hurriedly raised his head, but saw the embarrassed old man he had encountered before, staring at him, suspended in front of him. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan couldn't help pulling the corners of his mouth, but because of the opponent's terrifying strength, he had to swallow the curse from the bottom of his heart and asked instead, "What are those things?" The old man curled his lips and said, "It's just a group of thunder monsters with a little spiritual wisdom." Hearing the sound, Xiao Yan frowned, but he was not surprised. After the alien fire has existed for a long time, it will also have its own spiritual wisdom. The terrain here is quite strange. Thunder has condensed for countless years, and it is not surprising that some strange creatures have been born. His gaze swept over the embarrassed old man, but Xiao Yan's heart made a lot of waves. The strength of this old guy may have reached the same level as the teacher's super powerhouse. However, the character of the old man seemed a little difficult to compliment, and he almost killed him. At this moment, the old man rubbed his hands, and suddenly said with a smile, "Boy, I think although you are not very strong, you are very fast. I originally wanted to help you, but I didn't expect you to escape by yourself." Xiao Yan responded, "It's just a fluke." He cursed secretly in his heart, who knows if what this old guy said is true or false. The old man stroked his beard and smiled, "Boy, those creatures are extremely strange. They are born from the power of thunder and can be directly absorbed. If they are used for cultivation, they are a great tonic. I think your speed is good. Why don't we join forces to play in the depths of the thunder pool?" When Xiao Yan heard the sound, he suddenly showed an awkward and polite smile, and quickly shook his head, but secretly scolded in his heart, "Are you kidding me? I'm close to that kind of black thunder, and I can blow him to death with just one shot. I didn't know it was okay before, but now I know it. I won't set foot in it again if I kill him. Besides, this old guy is unreliable at first glance, and he doesn't want to cause trouble." Upon seeing this, the old man curled his lips and said, "Is there any mistake? Young people are getting less and less courageous now, but meeting each other is fate. The old man's surname is Fate. If you want to come to you kid doesn't know the old man's name." Xiao Yan thought for a while. He had indeed never heard of this number one super powerhouse. It seemed that he was indeed a hermit expert in Zhongzhou. Seeing that Xiao Yan really didn't know his surname, the old man sighed, "Ignorant junior." At this moment, a figure accompanied by a loud and clear voice suddenly swept from a distance, "Brother Xiao Yan, are you okay?" Looking at the passing figure, the old man was startled. It was actually a person from Taishu Gulong. He immediately glanced at Xiao Yan in surprise, as if wondering why the latter, an ordinary human being, had anything to do with Taishu Gulong. "Forget it, the old man is leaving first. Your kid is doing okay, but he is still much worse than the old man. Work hard." The old man seemed unwilling to listen to other people, so he waved his hand at Xiao Yan, and before he could speak, there was a spatial fluctuation in front of him, and he quickly disappeared. Seeing the old man leaving so quickly, Xiao Yan was a little helpless, and could only turn his head and look at He Qing, who was getting closer and closer. Seeing Xiao Yan safe and sound, He Qing breathed a sigh of relief. "Fortunately, you have the dragon seal left by the Dragon Emperor in your body, otherwise it's really hard to find." Xiao Yan smiled and did not elaborate on what happened in the thunder pool, but waved his hand and said, "I met a little accident in the thunder pool, so I came out first, and the cultivation is almost complete. Let's go back." Hearing this, He Qing nodded quickly, "Okay, I'm staying here, and the birds are almost fading out." Immediately, his whole body was full of light, and he turned into that huge black dragon again. Upon seeing this, Xiao Yan flashed his body and jumped on his back. As a dragon chant resounded, the dragon rushed out like lightning, and disappeared at the end of the void in a blink of an eye. Not long after Xiao Yan and He Qing left, the space was turbulent again, and an old figure slowly emerged. It was the old man surnamed Chen who had been there before. He frowned slightly, staring in the direction where Xiao Yan disappeared, as if contemplating. After a while, he muttered to himself suspiciously, "Why is the name Xiao Yan so familiar? And this old man is Mang Tianji, dean of Canaan College."